Hi, Year 2. I hope you're all well and you've been having a good week so far. It's good to see you all again. It's time for another English lesson today, and I've got a story to share with you this morning, and I'm going to have to hold my hands up and tell the truth, because you remember last week I asked you to do a little visualization of a piece of text that I was reading to you, and you had to draw it down. And then the other day I showed you those 8 pictures, and you had to think about how they were all linked and then maybe have a go at turning them into a story yourself. Well, I have to tell the truth. All those things came from the same story. And today I'm going to reveal what that story is to you. Those 8 pictures of those different things that you saw and the bit of text that I read to you all come from this story. Somebody swallowed Stanley. And now, hopefully, from that picture, you can actually see what it is that Stanley is. Have you worked it out? I think you might have. Well, I'm going to read you some of the story today, and we'll see if some of your predictions and the links that you made the other day were close to the truth or not. Doesn't matter if they weren't, though, because there was no right or wrong answer with making up your ideas from those pictures. It was whatever came into your thinker, and whatever came into your thinker from those pictures must have been a good idea, whether it was the same as this or not. But this is Somebody Swallowed Stanley. I like that. It's stripy. Stanley swept into the sea with a splash and a splish. Perhaps he's one of us, thought the other jellyfish. But his stripes were too straight and his tentacles too few. He just floated in the sea, not sure what to do. You see, Stanley was no ordinary jellyfish. In fact, he's not a jellyfish at all. I'm not so sure he should really be in the sea, are you? Then something terrible happened. Somebody swallowed Stanley. But who could it be? Her tongue was as rough as barnacles, her mouth as vast as a cave, and she hummed her low song. Stanley tried to be brave. If you worked out from that description who it is, I'll read it again, see if you can work out who's swallowed Stanley. Her tongue was as rough as barnacles, her mouth as vast as a cave. As she hummed her low song, Stanley tried to be brave. Have you got an idea of who it might be in your head? I like this book. I like the way it rhymes. Listen carefully to the rhyme as well when I read it. And there were some great similes in there. Last week, Miss Pomfret, you learned a little bit about similes, didn't you? Tongue as rough as barnacles. Barnacles are those hard shell creatures that stick onto bits of wood and rock under the water. You might have seen them down on the beach on the edges of the groins. They're very rough, very scrapey. And her mouth as vast as a cave, as big as a cave. Nice similes. As she hummed her low song, Stanley tried to be brave. It is a whale swallowing Stanley. So who had swallowed Stanley? The creature stopped singing as Stanley slid down her slimy throat. She coughed and she spluttered, and then whoosh! With a rush and a rumble, steam burst from her spout. A whale had swallowed Stanley, but now he was out. I love the description again there. With a rush and a rumble, steam burst from her spout. A whale had swallowed Stanley, but now he was out. I wonder why that whale swallowed Stanley in the first place. Why do you think she thought that Stanley might make a good meal? What did he look like at the beginning? Very confusing for the poor sea creatures. I like this bit on this page where it says a rush and a rumble. Rush and a rumble and swallowed Stanley. Do any of you know what that's called, where you can hear the same sound at the beginning of consecutive words or words that are close together? We have done it a little bit in year 2. Can anyone remember? Shout it if you can. Oh, I think I heard it somewhere at the back. You're right. It's called alliteration. Let me show you the word alliteration. There it is. An alliteration is the same letter or sound at the beginning of a series of words. Like we heard with rush and rumble. They both begin with that sound. And swallowed Stanley begins with a s sound, both of those words. I've got a few more examples of alliteration here. I wonder if you can help me read them out. The top one here. Can anyone read that one? Nice and loud. A terrible tiger's tooth. What sound is it that's alliterative in that sentence? That's right, it's the t sound at the beginning of terrible, tigers, and tooth. Oh, and look, there's that monster apostrophe. And it's showing that the tooth belongs to the tiger in this sentence because it's the tiger's tooth. Here's another one down here. Can somebody read it at the back? Short, sharp, shock. Bang! A short, sharp shock. Yes, all of those words have the sh sound at the beginning. And then another one down here. Rapidly running around the racetrack. Yes, you don't have to have every single word in a sentence or a phrase starting with the same sound for it to be alliteration. It can just be a few of them that are closely connected, like in this sentence, rapidly running around the racetrack. So quite a few of them in that sentence have got the sound at the beginning. So that's a great example of alliteration too. I'm going to show you this page. Ooh, there are some things hiding on this page. What I'm going to do is I'm going to reveal something to you, and then I'd like you to pause the video and either tell your grown-up an alliterative phrase that comes into your mind when you see that picture, or even better, write it down as a sentence with a capital letter and a punctuation mark at the end, a full stop, or maybe even an exclamation mark if it's exciting. Maybe you can come up with an alliterative sentence that describes that thing that appears. Let's have a go at this one. Oh, it's a rhino. Pause the video. Make up an alliterative phrase about a rhino, something that begins with those sounds perhaps because it's a rhino, or it might be a description of a rhino using another sound for your that is repeated throughout the sentence. And then when you're ready, unpause and come back to me. Off you go. Oh, I'm looking forward to hearing some of those alliterative phrases you came up with about a rhino. I came up with rapidly running rhinoceros, and I also came up with a rowdy, rambunctious rhino. A little bit of a descriptive, bit short. Your ones might be even longer. Are you ready for the next one? I'm going to reveal the picture, then you can pause the video and come up with an alliterative phrase. Oh, I'm tripping over my words today. An alliterative phrase for a tree. Off you go. What did you come up with? Something good, no doubt, and you can share it with me or your teacher later on Dojo or via email. There's one more to show you. Are you ready for the next one? It is a burger. Ooh, a juicy looking veggie burger for me, please. A juicy burger. Can you come up with an alliterative phrase for that one? Off you go. Oh, I hope you had fun coming up with your alliterative phrases for all three of those. I'm looking forward to seeing some of them later. I'm sure they were very good. You could probably hear my cat running around like a loon in the background. Never work with children or animals, they say. Okay. I've got a bit of a challenge for you now if you've been really good at those alliterative phrases. I'm going to stop there. Making sure you've got those words that begin with the same sounds at the beginning. I would like you to, and I'm going to have to explain this very carefully, have a go at creating your own tongue twisters using alliteration. Because if you noticed earlier, I was tripping over some of my words. And that's what happens when you use alliteration. See, there you go again. If you come up with lots of alliterative phrases, alliterative words in a phrase, it can start to become a bit of a tongue twister and your tongue gets all tied up and you can't get them out properly. So first of all, I'm going to get you to choose a letter, any letter, but it needs to be a consonant, not a vowel. So pick a consonant letter. And then can you write down as many words as you can think of that start with that letter? So the more similar sounding they are, the better, because that will be the most twisty for your tongue. So, for example, you might pick the letter B and you might come up with berry, banana, butter, bitter, brave, broom, battery, beagle, bagel. So many different things you might come up with, and write them all down on a board, okay, or on a piece of paper, whatever you've got at home to help you do that. Okay, I'm going to give you a few minutes to do that. So pause the video, do that, and then come back to me. Off you go. Okay, I hope you managed to get lots of words beginning with your chosen letter. This is what I'm going to ask you to do next with them. Now you've got a long list of words beginning with that sound or that letter. I would like you to have a go at making up your own tongue twister. Okay, now you can still use some words that don't start with the same letter so that your sentence makes sense, because there's no way you'll be able to make a tongue twister using just the words that are on your piece of paper or your board. But you will need to incorporate some other words in there too, but you can use a lot of them from what you've made up. Let me explain it. I'll give you an example. So I came up with those ones using B earlier. Do you want to hear a little tongue twister that I came up with? Okay, this is what I wrote down. It is, Barry bought a berry bagel before buttering his brilliant banana bread, but Betty brought a better bagel, so Barry bit Betty's bagel instead. And I even put a bit of rhyme in there too. That's quite tricky, so don't worry about rhyming unless you really, 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 really want to challenge yourself. But have a go, see if you can make up a crazy tongue twister. Have a go, maybe 4 lines, I think. 4 lines is enough. So mine was, Barry bought a berry bagel, that's line 1, before buttering his brilliant banana bread, line 2. But Betty brought a better berry bagel, line 3. So Barry bit Betty's bagel instead, line 4. Lots of B's in there. So you might want to work with your grown-up to help you come up with some ideas on that one. And then you can challenge your family members to see how quickly they can say your tongue twister without making a mistake. Or you have a go and then see if somebody else can do it faster. Have a competition. Who can say your tongue twister in the fastest time? I wonder if you can. It's quite a challenge. So have a go at that one. See how you get on. And if you've come up with a brilliant tongue twister using the words that you wrote down, you can share it with me or share it with your class teacher on Dojo or via email. I'd love to have a go at practicing reading some of them, see if I can avoid getting my tongue all in a twist. Give me a challenge too. I'll look forward to seeing that. Oh, and if you want one last challenge, you're really enjoying your tongue twisters, your alliteration today, there's one more thing you can do if you want to, nice independent activity you could do on your own. Do you remember last week I got you to draw those visualizations, and you might have put some sea creatures in there and those kind of things when I read you the beginning of this story and didn't show you the pictures and you had to draw what was in your mind. If you still got that, you could have a go on a piece of paper at coming up with some alliterative descriptions of those sea creatures or sea things you've got in there. Like you might have a wonderful wacky whale in there, for example, or you might have a joyful jiggly jellyfish, for example. So there's one more challenge you can do if you want to after you've finished your tongue twisters, because alliteration is a lot of fun and we can have a lot of fun with it. But I hope all that makes sense for you. If you want to go back and practice anything again, don't forget you can rewind the video, and if not, then have fun with that. I'll look forward to seeing what you come up with and hopefully seeing you soon as well. Take care and have a great day. Bye-bye.